friends, welcome back to This Homeschooling Naturopath. If you're new here, my name's Hannah and I'm a homeschool mom of 3 girls who are 11, 9, and 7, and I'm also a fully qualified naturopath living in New Zealand. On this channel, I like to share content related to homeschooling, homemaking, motherhood, as well as some naturopathic info throughout some of my content here. Today's video, I am going to be taking you guys through our Term 1 update review. We've just come to the end of our first school term, and so I'm going to be sharing with you guys how all of our curriculum went the first 6 weeks of our homeschool year and little changes I'm thinking about making moving forward and all of that. So if you're interested, keep watching. Term 1 update. So how we school in our homeschool is 6 weeks on, 1 week off, with six-week terms in our homeschool year. So we've just come to the end of our first 6 weeks. So still pretty fresh in my mind, and I just want to share with you guys how all of our curriculum has gone and all of that good stuff. If you haven't already, I definitely recommend that you check out my curriculum picks videos. I have full dedicated videos for our group subjects as well as all of my girls' independent subjects that they do, which is what I'm going to be talking about today. So I definitely recommend you go check those videos out. They'll be linked down below in the description box. Otherwise, let's just get straight into it. I'm going to start off with our group subjects and then work my way from my oldest daughter's work down to my youngest daughter's. So our group subjects are the bulk of what we study in our homeschool, and this includes things like history, science, geography, social studies, Bible, artist study, poet study, bird study, like a whole big variety of things that we all do together as a family. This year for our science, history, geography, etc., I've chosen a gather round unit for each term of our homeschool. So we have 6 units to get through, and for term 1 we worked our way through space by gather round homeschool. And I've got to be completely honest, I was so nervous going into this unit because I knew zero information about space. It's never something I studied in school. I had never looked into it myself. I really felt very out of my depth going into this unit as a teacher and trying to teach it to my kids. But I think that really played to my advantage when it came to the success of this unit. Not all of our gather round units are totally successful, but I'm happy to report that this one was. I asked all of my girls how they would rate this on a scale of 1 to 10, and they all gave it a 9.5, and have put it right up the top of our best units we've done from Gather Round, right behind Living Off the Land. Living Off the Land I think will forever be our most favorite unit we've ever done, and this is now ranking at number 2. So you can tell we really enjoyed it. We've probably done anywhere from about 15 to 20 Gather Round units now, so for this guy to rank in number 2, it was really good. And I think the fact that I went into it knowing nothing about it really, it showed my children that I was learning right alongside them, you know, and I completely was honest, and I was like, I know nothing about this topic, you know, when we would open up to learn about a new planet, and I would just be gobsmacked with the information that we were learning about, and just the awe in my face translated to them, and I think they just thought it was really cool that I was literally learning this all right alongside them, and that is the most beautiful, authentic type of learning out there. I had a lot of fun with this unit. The highlight of it was building solar systems. Put in a few pictures here of our solar systems and how they turned out. That really was the highlight, and I think the fact that we spent the whole 6 weeks working on those projects, it really just made it very exciting, and you know, every time we learned a new planet, it was so much fun because then we got to paint it and add it to our solar system and all of that really cool stuff. So I was really glad that I made the decision to make those solar systems. Again, that's not something I ever did as a kid, so I'm really happy that my children have now had the opportunity to do that, and they all get to display their solar systems up in their rooms now. So it's really cool. It's a really cool reminder of the fun time we had working through this unit together. So 9.5 out of 10 for the space unit study from Gather Round Homeschool. I definitely recommend this, even if you feel out of your depth in teaching something like space like I did. We also went on a couple of really cool field trips in relation to that space unit. Our local museum has a planetarium, so we went on like a it was called Our Place in Space Planetarium, and then actually this week we're going to another one called Discovering Mars. Of course, we also watched a lot of documentaries, we watched a few different spacey movies and stuff like that. So just all of that together, I think, really produced a very successful outcome for that unit there. Okay, so like I said, the Gather Round unit covers basically everything that we need in our homeschool. You've got your science, your geography, your history, social studies, all of that great stuff in there. However, we do a few different group subjects together, which again, I talked about all of that in that group subject video, so I'll just kind of quickly run through now how some of these have gone. These aren't necessarily homeschool subjects in my mind. This is more of our enrichment stuff, the stuff that I just add on top of everything else we're doing because I feel like it's very beneficial. So the first thing is our Bible. Again, we are working through sticky situations. This is the second time we are going through this devotion here. It's fabulous, love it, and it's a really easy way for me to stay consistent with actually doing our Bible every morning because it doesn't take long and it's fun and we have really good conversations from it. So this is the one thing I would say in our homeschool that is super consistent every single day when it comes to like our morning basket group subject enrichment stuff. We watch World Watch News every morning and then we read one of these, and that is absolute routine that happens over breakfast time. So yeah, this is a success and has been and continues to be. I also really strive to teach my children French. This is just a visual. I've got all of these books here actually, not that you can really see them, but I've a whole shelf dedicated to French books and CDs and games and all of that, but I have to say French has not been very consistent this term, and that's totally on me. Like, that is very much a lack of discipline on my behalf when it comes to teaching French. For some reason, it's not super high on my priority list. I can't tell you why, but it is like, it's very hard to fit everything in, and when it comes to French, if it's not high on my priority list, then it's not getting done. So we were out last weekend with a couple of friends who live in France and who have lived there for a very long time, and they were like, why don't you do like a French Friday and just speak to your kids in French for the whole day every Friday? And I was like, you know, that's such a good idea. Maybe I will. Maybe I will. I'll think about it. But yeah, I do probably really need to think of a better way to be more consistent with this. But anyways, it's going anyway. For some more enrichment stuff, we are currently studying Vincent van Gogh. This is the, I think it's, oh yeah, picture study portfolio, and this is from Simply Charlotte Mason. I've talked about these a lot. These are always a success in our homeschool. It has all the different paintings in here, and we just sit on a Friday morning and study the painting. This past week, my girls actually wanted to paint their own version of the painting that we studied, so that was really, really cool that they totally did that on their own. I didn't even suggest it. They just got the watercolor out and were really inspired by the painting that we studied that day. So yeah, the picture study portfolios from Simply Charlotte Mason are a huge win in our homeschool, and Van Gogh continues to deliver for us. Next up, we've got Enjoy the Poems, again from Simply Charlotte Mason. We are currently studying Robert Louis Stevenson, and this is going okay. We just do this on a Friday. I read the poem, we talk a little bit about Robert Louis Stevenson. My kids aren't overly interested in poetry. I mean, you know, they sit and listen as I read the poem, but that's the extent of our poet study at the moment. But hey, you know, we're getting through it, so there's that. Another enrichment subject that I really like to incorporate is a native New Zealand bird study. This is just a book that I grabbed off the shelf for some visual. I like to go through and pick a different native New Zealand bird to study every week, and this has been going fabulously. We all love studying birds. It's kind of strange because I've never had an interest in birds like 2 years ago, I would have been like, birds? That's weird. But I have just fallen in love with studying birds, as have my kids. It's so interesting. I can't even express how much we all enjoy studying a new native bird every week. So yeah, we're just going to continue rolling through this. I have a whole big textbook, this one here, actually, that has some really good ideas for different native birds, and so I just pull a new bird every week and we study it, and I, you know, sometimes we'll print out some coloring sheets and we'll just watch some videos and just talk about it, and it's awesome. It's a really good time. Okay, and then the final enrichment group subject that we did this past term was button sewing, learning the handicraft, the skill of button sewing, and I just grabbed this out off of our little button shelf to show you guys. My girls have nailed the button sewing. Like, I had envisioned doing the button sewing for the whole year, but there's no way that we're going to be doing this for a whole year, because they nailed it, honestly, within the first week. And so ever since then, we've just been creating different artworks with the buttons. We've created a few gifts for great-grandparents and stuff like that. So yeah, it's, I don't know. My older two especially, they can sew buttons on anything now, so that's pretty cool. But I am still hunting for a different handicraft, because this is obviously, this is obviously not going to take us the whole year. So if you have any good handicraft ideas, I'd love to hear them down below. And that wraps up our group subjects, enrichment-y subjects. That is pretty much all of them. I can't think of anything else that we do regularly as far as group subjects go. So that's that. Now, before I move on to my girls' independent subjects, I just want to touch on the sports that they all did this term, because they, in fact, all of the sports that they all do together. So it is kind of like a group thing, I guess. So first off, surfing. Surfing lessons have started back up just a couple of weeks ago, and that is going great. And then once a week, we also do homeschool sports. So we have a teacher that comes and just teaches a new sport to all of the kids that are there. It's a great time, just for an hour a week. Currently, they are doing cricket, and then they'll move on to, I think, rugby. I can't remember all of them. Anyway, they learn a new sport every fortnight, so that's a lot of fun, and you know, all the kids just have a good run around, and yeah. Then also jiu-jitsu is something that, again, they all do together with our homeschool group once a week, and that's going great. Honestly, out of everything we're doing for extracurriculars, the jiu-jitsu is probably the standout for all of my kids. Yeah, it's something they really enjoy. It's a fabulous discipline. And I also mentioned in some of my curriculum videos that my girls were all going to be doing sign language, and I did have a couple of questions about it. So the company that we use for sign language lessons is called Merge NZ, and it is a New Zealand-based company. They offer a variety of online lessons, and this one specifically is for like homeschooled children. However, unfortunately, this past term they weren't able to get enough students on board to actually run the class for the time that we were after. They did offer us a 4 p.m. lesson time, but at 4 p.m. on any given day, like I don't want to be doing homeschool stuff, and I know my kids do not want to, so yeah, unfortunately the sign language at 4 p.m. Was a no-go, so I'm just gonna wait and see and hopefully get a few more people on board for a sign language lesson. And that rounds off our group subjects. So I'm gonna get in now to my oldest daughter's independent work and let you guys know how that's been going. So first off, she's doing From the Good and the Beautiful, the Language Arts Level 6, and this is going really good for her. She's incredibly independent with it. She just gets the work done and doesn't really complain. This is a slight step up from the Level 5 that she completed last year. It's a lot more writing involved, which I really like, but I can't say that she really likes it that much. It is demanding a lot more writing from her, which she never really had to do that much of in the Level 5. I've got to be honest, when I compare the differences between the 5 and the 6, this is quite a big step up, and it's asking a lot more of her than the level 5 did, in my opinion. So she's not a huge fan of all the writing that she has to do, but you know, we're getting this done nonetheless. And I mean, the Good and Beautiful Language Arts has been our go-to for her for several years now. It's something that she's very used to and just knows all the ins and outs of and can get it done very quickly. So yeah, no real complaints there, except for the amount of writing that she has to be doing. But also, as you get older, that is just the way that school goes, so there's that. All right, and for math, she's doing, again, from the Good and the Beautiful, the Math 5. This is going great. She would tell you that this is her favorite subject. She loves math, and she really loves the Good and the Beautiful math in particular. She's still not a fan of the videos. She doesn't really watch them. She chooses to just read the lesson and figure it out on her own, and if she can't figure something out, then she'll watch the video, but it's not her preference. But yeah, this is going really great. Again, she's just chugging along. She's exactly up to the lesson that she's supposed to be on for us being at 6 weeks, so I'm really glad. She's been incredibly consistent this term and has just been getting her work done. So yeah, no complaints here. Good and the Beautiful Math 5, it's going good. And then some elective courses that she is doing this school year. She is working on The Story of the USA, and this is by EPS Books. I picked this up secondhand off Facebook Marketplace like 2 weeks before we started our homeschool year, and she's just working through this. The information's really great. It breaks down all different points in American history, right from early Native Americans to like modern time, so it's really cool how it's laid out. She doesn't really like it that much. She finds this quite boring, gotta be really honest, but she's doing it. It doesn't take long. It only takes her about 10 minutes. All she has to do is read the passage. It's about a page or two with the history, and then go through and answer the questions. So it's really not that time consuming. But yeah, it's definitely not her favorite thing, but we are going to be continuing with it. She is very interested in food and nutrition, and so I chose this course here from Forest, Rain and Wonder, A Child's Guide to Sustainable Nutrition and Getting Back to Our Roots, for her to do this year on her own, and this is going really great. She's actually had a lot of fun doing some of the activities in here. She just the other week had to like dissect a nutrition label. I don't know if dissect is the right word. You probably thought I was going to say dissect something else, but just go through a nutrition label and kind of, you know, pick out all of the ingredients that weren't the best, and figure out what ingredients actually came from whole foods. And what she chose to look at was a bag of Doritos, which we very, very rarely have in the house. But yeah, she went through this bag of Doritos and was appalled at the lack of anything related to whole foods in there. So yeah, she's had fun with this, and we've also been watching the documentaries that are recommended throughout it, and it's been going great. Another elective I chose for her, the Simply Charlotte Mason Your Business Math series, and this is the bookstore one. They have 3 different ones to choose from. She was so excited about this when we first started our homeschool year. She like finished a whole month's worth of work in a couple of days. However, now she's getting a little bit bored with it, I've got to be honest, just because it's quite repetitive. Like every month is basically the same thing. You know, you pay your bills, you buy your books, you put your orders in, all of that. So yeah, she's getting slightly bored of it. There are like, they're not called disaster cards, but they're like plot twist cards or something like that, that kind of throw a spanner in the works. That would, like the other day she had a leaky pipe in her store, so she had to pay to fix that, and just different things like that. But it would be good if there were more cards and more bad things happening to make it, I mean that sounds bad, but to make it a little bit more interesting for her. I think it would be good to have a little bit more going on there for her to have to solve. I mean, and honestly, I could probably make my own situations for her to have to solve, so maybe I'll think about doing that. But other than that, it's going good, aside from those few little things. My oldest daughter also does typing twice a week. This is just a dedicated like 20 or 30 minutes to typing games. We play several different games on several different websites. I don't pay for anything. We just find free games. Typing.com has a lot of really good like lessons for kids to work through. So she's been doing that, and she does really enjoy her time typing. I think it's really good to kind of challenge yourself when it comes to something like that, and that's something she's very good at doing. She really wants to improve, so you know, when that desire is there, it just kind of happens naturally. So typing's going well. Another thing that I very randomly added to her list of things to do just 2 weeks ago is a Shakespeare course. So my daughter loves Shakespeare. It's something that she's been talking about for a very long time. She wants to write and produce her own version of A Midsummer Night's Dream. And just a couple of weeks ago, I saw that there is a mama from her company is called the I don't want to get it wrong. Parkinson Online Classes, that is what it's called. This is a small New Zealand-based company that is run by a New Zealand family somewhere in the North Island, and they offer online courses for homeschooled students. So my daughter, like I said, has been really interested in Shakespeare, and I saw that the Parkinson Online Classes were offering a little Shakespeare course for 11 to 13-year-olds, and I just, on a whim, enrolled her for it. She's been doing that now for about 3 weeks and is really enjoying it. I have sat and listened through a lot of the information that's being shared, and it is like in depth. It's stuff that I remember studying when I was in high school. So currently they're doing Romeo and Juliet, which I studied in high school, and I remember all of the different things we had to learn about and like all the ins and outs of the whole thing. And honestly, that is what my daughter has been learning, so it's really cool. It certainly would not be for every student out there, but for her it is right up her alley, and it's something she's been really enjoying, so that's been really cool. So she's doing that for 1 hour a week at the moment, as well as everything else that she has to do. So all right, moving on now to my middle daughter. She is 9 at the moment, turning 10 in a couple of months. For language arts, she is working through master books. This is the Language Lessons for a Living Education, the level 5. What do I have to say about this? We've been doing this now for 6 weeks, and I have very mixed feelings about it. My daughter does not. She's been really enjoying it. So I chose this because I needed something that was a lot easier for her to do, not so time consuming, is something that she could be a lot more independent with. Last year she did the Good and Beautiful Language Arts Level 3, which is a fabulous language arts curriculum. However, it was just taking way too long. Like, it would take us an hour to an hour and a half to get through one lesson. And that is just not a realistic time frame to be doing work with one child. We're having a baby in May this year, so I really needed something for her to be a lot more independent with. So that is why I chose master books. However, how I'm feeling now after using it for 6 weeks is, again, very mixed feelings. Don't really feel like she's benefiting much from this. That's my personal sentiment. As I said, she's really enjoying it because the work is not difficult and it's very fast and she can get it done very quickly, which is fabulous, and again is the reason I chose this. But I don't know, I'm having really mixed feelings about it right now. So right now we're on our first week break, and so I am looking at a few different language arts options and entertaining the idea of changing her to something else. What I would really love, actually, if you guys could leave down in the comments some different language arts suggestions. What have you guys used for language arts, and what do you find to be the best, most beneficial thing that is not too time consuming? I'd really love to know. I've looked at many different options. One thing I really like the look of is BJU. However, they don't offer a printable version of it, and obviously for us here in New Zealand, I can't have delivered BJU products because it would cost hundreds and hundreds of dollars, and I'm not here for it. So I really also need something that I can print myself from home. So yeah, there's a lot of criteria when it comes to language arts curriculums, and I'm just still kind of struggling. Overall, I'm not sure about this personally, but my daughter really likes it, so I don't know. I'll leave it at that, and I'll update you guys later on if we do change to something else. Okay, and then also for language arts, she is working through Editor-in-Chief. This is the beginning one from the Critical Thinking Co. She really likes this. They're super simple and easy to do, and it's fun that she gets to edit a little sentence and, you know, pretend like she's a magazine editor. This has been going really well. I have no complaints from her when it's time to get this out, so yeah. This is a thumbs up for us so far. And then another thing I have her doing for language arts is just, this is a simple writing book here. And so once or twice a week, I'll have her just get this out and put down a piece of creative writing, which lately she's been getting really into. In fact, she'll sit and write like 3 or 4 pages of the story that she's come up with, which is really, really cool to see, and it's great again to see for myself. It's good for me to see the improvements that she's making in her writing and in her spelling and all of that. So I really enjoy these writing books for my younger 2 daughters. I think it's a good way of gauging where they're at and what they need to work on. And then on a Friday afternoon, she works through logic. This is Mindbenders Level 3, again from the Critical Thinking Co. We just do 1 or 2 puzzles of this on a Friday afternoon, and she enjoys this. There's no complaints. It's something that we've done for several years in our homeschool, so it's not something new or different. Yeah. It's going good. We're going to keep moving through with this. We are continuing Growing Up with God. This is the level 1 from Gather Round Homeschool. This is going great. I believe we only have 1 lesson to go through, so yeah, it's been going good. I definitely recommend this if you have younger children. It's something that it's great conversation. So yeah, this is going well. We're going to be continuing with that. Oh, and then for math, last but not least, she does Teaching Textbooks Math 5. It's going really well. She is doing fabulous with her independence. It's like, you know, she knows what she needs to do. She has her list, and she gets her device and gets the work done. And this has been going really good because she's used to doing math with her The Good and the Beautiful Math 3, which she did last year. She's used to seeing it on paper and writing it. So when it comes to simple addition problems on the device, it's hard for her to remember that she knows how to do these things because she's seeing it visually on her device and she's not writing it down on a piece of paper. So I've bought her some nice math paper, and you know, I just encourage her when she gets to those certain problems to actually write it down on the paper as opposed to the scratch pad on teaching textbooks, because I find the scratch pad not overly helpful. I think it's so much more beneficial to write it down on a pad of paper and a pencil, and she obviously finds that a lot more helpful for herself as well. But other than that, Teaching Textbooks Math 5 is going fabulous, and we're definitely going to be continuing with it. She also does typing twice a week as well. Again, just like my older daughter, 20-30 minutes of dedicated typing time a week, and that's going good as well. And finally, moving on to my youngest daughter's independent subjects. She is 7 years old, and this is what she is working through at the moment. For math, she is doing The Good and the Beautiful Math 1, and this is going so well. She is flying through this curriculum right now. It's so beautiful to see just the growth and the flourish of the whole thing. So this is going super duper well. Very, very happy with this math choice at the moment. For her language arts, we have quite a few different things, so I'll just kind of briefly walk you through what we're doing and how it's going. So we are continuing with All About Reading Level 1. However, we kind of have hit a standstill with this past term, just because she's finding the readers super boring, and it's been very hard to actually get her to read the readers without a fight, which I don't want, which is not ideal. So we've kind of hit a standstill with this. Like, I'm not prepared to move her forward with the lessons until she reads the stories. And I mean, that's personal preference. What we have been doing in place of that is the Good and the Beautiful readers, which again I spoke about in her curriculum picks video. We have now read, I think she's read all of these at least once, and we just are continuing to roll through them. I've been picking other books off our bookshelf for her. We've got a few different books out of the library that she can read on her own. She's really been practicing her reading in a lot of different ways. So I feel comfortable that we have, not continued with All About Reading Read at the moment because she's doing so much reading in other areas. So, I'm not stressed out about it. We will most definitely be continuing with this when she is ready for it. For handwriting, she is doing the Good and the Beautiful level 1. She's got 2 pages left of this before we move on to the level 2. This is great. No complaints. It's going well, and she's excited to move up to the next level. Also, as part of her language arts, she does story writing twice a week. This is, again, just similar to what my older daughter has. The space to draw a picture and then a little space to do writing, and this has been a lot of fun. I've been giving her writing prompts lately. I'll pick a funny photo on my phone and show her and be like, can you write me a story about this? She'll do her best to draw the picture that I have shown her and then write a funny little story about it. So that's been fun. Again, it's good to see, that growth and to see how her spelling is coming along and her handwriting and all of that. So I really enjoy having like a story writing component to my younger daughter's work. Also, for language arts, she is working through what is this from School Zone, okay, and this is called Big First Grade. We are only doing the language arts portions of it, and this has been going really, really well. I am really happy with how well she's been working through this. She finds it very interesting and enticing and fun, and I think there's something about the colors and for her sense of accomplishment, when she finishes a page and all of that good stuff. So this is going really, really well, and I'm very happy that I found it when I did and have added it to her curriculum choices. Finally, the last thing that my youngest daughter works through, again, once a week on a Friday afternoon, she does the Mindbenders Level 2 from the Critical Thinking Co. She loves these puzzles. Like, it's one of her favorite things to do every week. She is going well, and we'll definitely be continuing with it until we're done. Again, I don't know if I'll move her into the level 3 or not, because the level 3 is substantially harder than the level 1 and 2, so we'll see. We'll see how we go with this anyways, but for the moment, it's going great. All right, and that brings us to the end of this Term 1 curriculum review video. I hope that you have found something of interest. I would love to hear any questions or comments that you guys have down below, any recommendations you have on that language arts or on handicraft. I would definitely love to hear them down below. But other than that, thank you so much for watching today. I appreciate you, and I appreciate you taking your time to come hang out with me and hear about how our curriculum is going. So if you've made it to the end of this video, you're amazing, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Thank you.